All right, welcome everyone to Fostering Kids Universe. This episode is all about the process of getting started in the foster care system. Today, foster mom had to do some errands and we were cleaning up the kids' room, and I found out that our 8-year-old drew all over her ladder, her nice wooden ladder. So she spent a little time trying to scrub it off and it didn't come off. But that'll be a future episode of why foster kids act out. And it actually becomes easier once you find out why. So you want to run them through how we started?
So the first decision we had to make was what kind of agency we wanted. So you have a choice of either going through a private agency or directly through DCFS. There's pros and cons to each. It just depends what you want to do. We decided on a private agency because we thought that there was a little bit more personal touch to it. They're only open, business hours, so you would only get called for placement of kids that have probably been in custody for more than, just a few hours. Whereas DCFS, you might get a kid that's, a call at midnight, somebody that's directly pulled from their home right to your home.
And then once we made that decision, we called up the agency that we chose, and we had a little meet and greet. Just kind of went there to the agency, sat down with other future foster parents, and we kind of just learned about how they do things. And then they set us up right then and there with all of our classes and home studies, and we went from there. From start to finish, it took about a year, I would say, right?
Maybe a little bit less.
Yeah. Well,
maybe
we actually
9 months.
We got our foster kids a week before we actually got our license, but we can't say that on camera because that might not have been what was supposed to happen, but it did.
We had our license, it just didn't come in the mail yet.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised because we got the call before we actually had our foster license. But yeah, we were actually licensed through the state. We just didn't get it in the mail.
So when you take the classes, you take it with the same group of people. You go through the classes together. They like you to make sure you get every class in order with the same people so that you can develop that relationship and camaraderie and intimacy. We did miss one class and we were able to make it up. But typically they like you to stick together. And you learn all sorts of things about why foster care kids behave the way they are, how to understand them better and teach them, and just kind of understand where they're coming from. I thought the classes were a little corny, a little cheesy. With my background, I didn't really think I would learn much from it. But
I thought they were awesome.
But I mean, there's like videos from the 80s, I thought it was. I was actually surprised at how much I learned in the classes.
I pretty much learned everything I've ever wanted to know. And it's not anything like that, the movie Instant Family. I mean, it's like that where you're in a group, you're talking about those kind of things, and there was some eye-openers to make you kind of think outside the box. But the difference is in Instant Family, they kind of stuck with that same group the whole process, even after they fostered. And in our case, I think they sent out an email, like if you wanted to be on an email list, but we never...
Yeah,
they never really kept up with us. I think they're too busy in our state with keeping up with everyone.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of find your own group.
And a lot of the classes now I hear are online. So you can do some of the training online. I don't think there's ever going to be a point where you do everything online, but it is trending that way for a lot of it.
Yeah, so next we dive into the home study, which is a fun one because they pretty much want to know everything about
everything.
Yeah, like what's your favorite color and favorite food, down to why do you think your great-great-great-great-grandparents got divorced? They go through with the fine-tooth comb, and they want to know everything about your family. They kind of just, they ask you a lot of questions, and it's very intrusive,
Yeah, and your philosophies and your beliefs on things.
Yeah, your religious beliefs, that kind of stuff.
Not that there's a right or wrong answer. They just want to know everything.
Here's the deal. It's scary because you think, and I'm going to talk about the next step too, it's just kind of scary them going through your house, but they need more foster parents. They need you if you're deciding to become a foster parent. So they're going to help you do whatever you need to do to become a foster parent. So don't be scared. They do want to know everything about you, but they want to encourage and help because they need more foster parents. So don't think that they're going to like throw you out because, you know.
Yeah, it's invasive, but it's not like applying for a job. It's
Yeah.
not like there's 100 applicants for one position. There's 100 positions and one applicant. So
Yeah. The other thing we had to do is you had to give your house plot survey and then draw up each room, what the size is, so they can determine how many kids can fit in your house. I kind of drew up like a little diagram of our house. I think I went over the top because they kind of looked at it and was like, oh, most people just write down the square footage in each room. So, but I kind of like doing it anyway.
Yeah, they came to our house 3 times. And you have to fill out a lot of paperwork prior to them coming so that they can kind of review everything. So
We also had to add smoke and carbon monoxide detectors to each floor, which I only had, I think, one near the bedrooms and then one in the basement. We actually live in a quad level, so we have 4 levels. So we did have to spend a little bit more money doing that setup, but it wasn't a big deal. We set up some cabinet safety locks and the child outlet safety plugs, just little child safety things like that. But it wasn't too bad. And the one thing I was caught off guard with is our water temperature. I don't want to say this too loud, but they've actually yet to check our water temperature. But there is a certain standard that our state has, and it's 110 degrees, and it can't go over that. So I have to set our water heater pretty low to make that temperature happen. And then we run out of hot water as we take showers because it's so low. But that's what we got to do.
the other thing they want to know is about your support system, to want to make sure that you have a family that's going to be supportive of foster kids and take them as family, and get letters of recommendation. So they want about 3 people, I think, 3 people to write about you and recommend
Hopefully
you.
people that like you.
Yes, that know you and why they think that you would be good foster parents.
And then once you do all that, I think during that process, we actually, maybe even in the beginning, you do a background check. I just got background checked for work. That didn't cut it. We had to go through their system. So I had to go back and redo the background check and
To get fingerprinted.
Yeah, fingerprinted too. I don't think we did drug test. Maybe we did.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. It was 3 years ago. And I think that was pretty much it. There's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff in between I'm sure we're forgetting, but those were kind of the major steps that we had to do to get ready for the foster care system. Like I said, it took about a year. It was a very long year because I was like raring to go. But in our case, we got kids, like I said, a week before we even got our license in the mail. But I do know some people that because of their restrictions on who they wanted in the house, it took them a little bit longer to get kids. So that's something else we can talk about. There's also one last thing about you get to decide during the home study what restrictions you have of what type of child you want in your house.
As far as age, sex, religion, even. I mean, you can
Race.
level of ability, and you really have to be honest with what you can take in. If you don't think that you can accommodate a certain group of people, then you shouldn't take those kids, and they're not going to judge you for that. You just need to say what you want. Obviously, the more open you are, the more likelihood that you're going to get foster kids. If you're very, very restricted, kid might not come around.
So if you just want like a baby that's under 1 year old, it could take you actually a couple years before one is available. But if you have, you're open to get 4 kids and 0 to 18, you'll probably get some knocks on the door like the day of you get your license. But it is actually a little bit pushy. I think they do it because they know they got to get as many kids out. I was only comfortable being our first time. I wanted only 1 or 2 kids, and they kind of pushed us to do 3 kids. At the time, it kind of felt a little uncomfortable. What I didn't know then that I know now is once we got 3 kids here, which again I denied, but we had 2 kids, and then we found out they had an older sibling, so now we have 3. It's been the best thing, and maybe we'll discuss it at a different episode about siblings and keeping them together. It was great. It was a great decision. It was scary. It was hard first year, but we got through it, which is why we're doing this, to help you guys get through it if you're deciding to become a foster parent. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe on our little circle here, and like us, and please comment if you have any questions. We would love to answer them. Thanks, guys.